So what do you want to be?
I want to be a surgeon.
You'll have to go to a lot of school for that. Have you thought about how you might pay for it?
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot, but my options are kind of limited as my finances are.
So what are you going to do?
I don't know.
The Foundation is a non-profit organization that provides college scholarships for Tulsa area high school students that are academically excellent but financially disadvantaged. As financial need is an important factor, the Foundation has encountered many students that have had to endure great personal hardship. However, as a result of the recent American financial crisis, nonprofit organizations like the Simon Estes Educational Foundation are now struggling to provide for the people they are purposed to help. Our best and brightest young people, the inheritors of our country's future, are now being forced to go without the education that will enable them to save it. You're about to meet some of these incredible young people, most in their senior year of high school, and meet the organization that has worked to ensure that their journey does not stop there.
The founding of the Simon Estes Educational Foundation was a calling for me in 1983.
The Simon Estes Educational Foundation Incorporated initially came into existence when a local student advocate, Jane L. Reed, approached the international opera star Simon Estes during one of his visits to Tulsa to perform with Tulsa Opera.
And I met Jane Reed, and she was on one of the boards there in Tulsa, various organizations. And they invited me to speak at a high school, the McLean High School.
He gave us a very rousing and very inspirational speech to the student body there.
I spoke to those young people, and my heart went out to them because I felt there are probably a lot of young people here with great minds and would like to further their education, but because of a lack of funds, they would not be able to go to college.
He asked what his role would be in such an organization.
And then Jane said, "Simon, would you come back and do a concert?" And I agreed to do that. And she said, "Would you maybe waive your fee?" And I said, "I certainly will do that, Jane."
That was our first concert, and it was sold out. The proceeds from that concert went to fund 2 scholarships.
And as the years progressed, we were able to give more and more scholarships.
Each May, Simon Estes scholars complete their undergraduate educations and become part of a prestigious network of Simon Estes alumni. Also in May, the Foundation adopts a new class of scholars, carefully chosen from the more than 2,000 students that graduate from Green Country high schools every year. Some of their stories, the stories of past, present, and future Simon Estes scholars, are so incredible that the Foundation wanted to give them a chance to share. Some have heartwarming tales of triumph. Others, those with stories yet unfinished, can only recount the formidable adversities they faced thus far. They all, however, share one common thread: the importance of support from viewers like you.
Well, when I was in high school as a junior looking to go into college, I wasn't sure how I was going to afford that.
Today, Locke knows an emergency room physician at St. John's Hospital in Broken Arrow. But 22 years ago, he was just another high school student with unremarkable expectations for the future.
My parents are immigrants from Vietnam. I grew up in a very big family. We were 8 children. My parents worked 2 jobs, so there were absolutely $0 coming from my parents to pay for college. So 18-year-old kid, you know, you go get a job at a movie theater or McDonald's, and you just fill out an application and you punch in and punch out.
Fate, however, had plotted a different course for Locke No.
I came across some information through the high school counselors about this great foundation. It was very rewarding when I learned the news that I was selected, because I know that it was a very competitive scholarship. In Vietnam, it's very elite to go to college. Really the richest people go to college. Growing up in a family of immigrants, I didn't know any doctors when I grew up, and I've never met a doctor before in my life until I broke my arm one time in high school. I like working with people. It's just so gratifying and so rewarding. I mean, it's just really unbelievable. In particular, little kids, especially since I've had children, I just love working with children. And not all the time, but a lot of times in ER, they're really at near death, and it's just really amazing what I can do, to save their life. I mean, it's just really incredible when I think about it sometimes.
A few physicians servicing rural Locust Grove, Oklahoma. Motivated to practice there by virtue of the community's need, she often gives far more than the job traditionally requires.
Locust Grove had lost their physician in March of 2002, and I opened my doors here in August of 2002. The need was there. We also volunteer at the free clinic in the county, and my husband and I go there approximately once a month, and it's very important to give back there. The people that come have no insurance. You have to serve, or receiving doesn't mean much.
As a result of generous donations from the local community, Laura was able to receive a foundation scholarship in 1991. Seeing her at work now, one can't help but recognize the tremendous positive difference she makes in the lives of so many, and how it was all made possible by the difference that someone else chose to make in hers.
My twin sister and I did well, and we were actually both valedictorian from my high school, Tulsa Edison. There was a lot of concern of how we would make it to college and pay, especially with two of us. My mother did not have any means. I would not have been able to go to Washington University without Simon Estes scholarship, and we have to help the generation coming because they deserve it.
Many take it for granted that a student as promising as Laura would find a way to attend college even without their support. Well, this actually couldn't be further from the truth. Unfortunately, students also make this mistake, believing they have a reliable route to a higher education, only to discover, sometimes too late, how sparse and tenuous other opportunities can really be.
I had the dream like a lot of young boys had, one day playing in the NFL. That was my thing. I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to make a bunch of money, take care of my family. In high school, I broke my shoulder and dislocated, and it was just not good. I realized that if you're on an athletic scholarship, then you basically have to play and perform in order to maintain that funding from the athletic department versus with the Simon Estes scholarship and being a general scholarship, you can go wherever it is that you desire to go, and that scholarship goes with you.
A blessing in disguise, Ramon's injury led him to refocus his energies into the field of law, later graduating at the top of his class at Cornell University. He is currently a managing attorney with One Oak Partners.
What I really appreciated about the foundation was they didn't just give me a check and say, let us know how things are going. They checked in with me. We were assigned someone as a liaison to make sure, we had, more than just the financial support, the kind of the emotional support that as a freshman in college, it makes a huge difference, because when you're going from Tulsa, Oklahoma to New York, that's a long way from home. Without the support of others to get you to where you need to get, then it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to get there.
With the foundation's support, Ramon was able to transcend an athletic injury that could have changed the course of his life. Meanwhile, Eduardo Aguayo, a student from the most recent class of Simon Estes scholars, utilizes the foundation's support to study forensics at Oklahoma State University. Eduardo was motivated to pursue the subject after a powerful experience at a local science convention.
This one case, Haley's Law, just blew my mind. Her parents, Haley's actual parents, were there. And I remember just how heartbroken they felt. Why would somebody do such a thing? Would kill an innocent person like that? And then it just came to me. I was like, I'm gonna help. I want to help people like that.
Despite the nobility of his ambitions, Eduardo's college prospects were nearly destroyed when calamity struck during his senior year of high school.
Financially, my parents weren't not been able to pay for my college or send me to college. My dad got cancer, I started kind of slipping. I just didn't want to do anything. I was giving up. And then my senior year, that's when Miss Hensel told me about Simon Estes. I didn't know there was money out there to help me. And now, I'm just so thankful.
The individuals you've just met represent the past and present of Simon Estes. However, the Foundation's foremost concern is always for the future. The next class of Simon Estes scholars are at this moment in the very midst of severe adversity, with many feeling as though they have nowhere to turn. This is the case with the students you're about to meet, all seniors graduating from high schools in our local community.
Well, I'm Gabrielle, and I go to Tulsa Central High School. I'm a senior. I've been there all 4 years in high school. And I want to go to college. I want to be a surgeon one day. The medical field has always been something I've been drawn to all my life. I volunteer at St. John's Hospital, and that's just been a great thing because I get to work right next to the doctors. Really, the only thing is standing in my way is money, because medical field is very expensive.
While this is certainly true, with a 4.0 GPA and a wealth of experience, Gabrielle couldn't be more prepared for the career path she's chosen. However, she's more often been the one receiving medical attention than giving it.
Lately, I've been having problems. It started around March, April this past year, and I've lost about 60 pounds. The doctors and my counselor both, they were worried about me because they were wanting to admit me because I'm constantly getting sick at work, at school, and can't focus. I'm like extremely tired because I obviously can't eat anything lately.
Ashley Waitkus is a counselor employed by Family and Children's Services that works on site at Central High School. And the very fact that her presence is necessary in a full-time capacity goes to show the severity and frequency of circumstances like Gabrielle's.
When Gabby left school in May or early June for summer break, and she came back in August, her health had declined dramatically. It's impacted her ability to stay awake in class, to eat, and just to have the energy to do homework, to go to work in the afternoon. Really, it's impacted every aspect of her life.
Really can't be admitted because I can't afford to miss that much work. I mean, I really need the medical field to get that, that financial stability that I need for me, for, my future children one day.
The goal that Gabrielle has in mind is a very modest one. All she's looking for is a reason to believe that tomorrow might be a little bit better than today. With so much uncertainty in her life, it's only this hope of a brighter future that empowers her to persevere.
So I want my children actually not to worry about having to figure out how they're going to go to college, And because that's one of my big things that I've always had to do, because obviously none of my family so far has been able to make it that far. I mean, my sister got there but had to drop out because of finances. And I mean, it's hard when you don't really see a lot of help when you need it, especially when you're working so hard for everything. But for the most part, I mean, it was always kind of toughed it out. I mean, I've come from some pretty hard positions and got to here, so I mean, I don't worry about like just everything falling totally apart. I mean, I feel like I can come back up from stuff. It's just not where I want to be.
While Gabrielle's case may seem to be representative of an extreme, her circumstances are unfortunately not as abnormal as we might like to think. The global financial crisis has put a tremendous burden on American families, resulting in some of the most debilitating circumstances for these young people the Foundation has ever witnessed. Bear in mind that it is both in spite of and because of our collective financial burden that we must give, now more than ever, for when a society suffers, its children suffer the most.
It's very frustrating to have financial difficulties and, not having a way to really get out of it that you can see at the moment.
Chelsea Cochran will graduate near the top of her class this year. Nonetheless, her thoughts are currently directed toward what will come next, as opportunities currently seem to be fewer in number than hardships.
It's $16,000 a year to go to OSU, and I nor my parents make that kind of money. I'm afraid that I will have nothing to contend with for my life. Like, if I just die, let's say tomorrow, I've achieved nothing.
The serious and sometimes grim attitudes that these students have developed come no doubt as a result of the conditions they've had to endure. One of Chelsea's classmates, James Denny, has a very unique set of challenges that have only compounded the financial difficulties his family already faces.
I will give you that autism is occasionally a double-edged sword. I do not intuitively understand a lot of body language, for example. It's been a struggle, it really has, but it's one that has taught me a lot, that will continue to the day I die, but that I think I'm more or less winning.
Despite the challenges he faces, James has found a particular career path that makes use of his talents.
Cybersecurity is a really big issue. Sadly, there isn't a nice door on the internet that you can put a big, strong padlock on. So I see myself working for the government, on the proverbial front lines of the internet, stopping hackers.
One would hope that James's resilience would be rewarded with the fulfillment of these aspirations. Nonetheless, James contends with yet still greater challenges to secure funding for his education.
That if I work hard enough to get the scholarships, I'll be good, but if I can't get the scholarships, I don't know what I'm going to do. My mom didn't graduate, my grandma didn't graduate, and my great-grandma didn't graduate. And I will be one of the first people in my family to actually walk across the stage and have a diploma in their hands. And then to go to college and actual university, I will be the first in my family.
Despite these adverse circumstances, Ryan is driven by his desire to succeed.
I actually have a 3.9 GPA, and I'm valedictorian of my class. I've wanted to be a valedictorian since about 6th grade. I want to be the best to say that, hey, I did this. I know you can do it too.
Struck by the power of Ryan's narrative, the foundation decided to facilitate a meeting between Ryan and the esteemed Dr. Ray Booker.
Ryan is a bright young man. Every kid that is valedictorian, you got to admire because they've worked hard to get it. And he will be a leader. I can tell you that.
As it happens, it was not long after this that another student was brought to the Foundation's attention by one of its affiliates at Tulsa Community College. TCC annually works with Oklahoma Department of Corrections to award a special scholarship to inmates at certain facilities that allows them to pursue higher education while incarcerated. Yoder is an inmate at Connors Correctional Facility in Hominy, Oklahoma, and a recipient of this grant, aptly titled the Second Chance Scholarship. Through this program, Yoder has been able to evidence his academic ability.
I've been on the President's Honor Roll. I've got straight A's, a 4.0 GPA. I study various other things on the side, and we form little study groups on the unit. And,
a portion of Yoder's interview caused those present to pause for a moment, as he described a background not very different from that of Webster's valedictorian Ryan Warren.
Well, my earlier education was pretty sporadic. Me and my mom were kind of staying with different family members. I went to various middle schools. At that time, 19, turning 20 was when I came in.
Ryan Warren is roughly that same age.
My mom, when we were younger, we didn't really have a lot of money at all. We stayed in with different people throughout the year, switched back and forth. I'd been to 4 different schools in the course of like 3 years.
This similarity prompted us to ask, what will make the difference for students like Ryan between the future he envisions and this other utterly extreme but disturbingly possible outcome? Dr. Ray Booker, who himself prevailed against great adversity on the road to his incredible professional success, proffered an answer.
If you come from poor circumstances, you know you'd like to be something, but you don't know where to turn. You don't know, what do I grab? What do I do? And organizations like the Simon Estes Foundation provide that leadership. You reach out a hand and say, here, come talk to us. We'll help you.
If I had a better education earlier in life, I seriously doubt we'd be having this conversation right now. You'd be talking to somebody else.
Scholarships are a vital part of the educational system. As you know, the state funding for state institutions like OU and OSU has gone down and down and down. The universities, which are we'll call state universities, are more and more like private universities because the state funding is disappearing. If their kids are going to get a college degree there, they're going to have help, and that comes in the form of scholarships.
And what happens if these scholarships aren't available? For how long might these young dreams be deferred?
Education, even after the associates, I want to keep on now. Granted, it'll be a little slower because I've got to get out and work my butt off and make up for 12 years, you know, so.
12 years. That's how long it's taken him to further his education. A furtherance initially set in motion by the scholarship he was finally able to receive in all places while incarcerated. Meanwhile, Ryan and many other students like him struggle to secure a scholarship that will let them put the next 2 decades of their lives towards the fulfillment of noble ambitions.
People don't really look out for motorcycles as much as cars. And I want to somehow help design a motorcycle that will be safer for when someone doesn't pay attention.
I feel that I was made for doing that sort of cybersecurity and protecting this great nation.
I even have a little dream of retiring surgery and going into family practice and opening my own family practice, you know, helping the community for, you know, people who don't have enough money to afford the general, you know, doctor bills.
We as a society have a choice, not of whether to give, but rather how and to what end. Will we give scholarships to see them succeed, or tax dollars when they fail? The choice is ultimately ours.
For individuals who would like to donate to our foundation, I want you to know you will be blessed.
I think that we all have an obligation to help people who are less fortunate than ourselves.
The door that I'm looking for would definitely be not only closed but locked without college.
It's an investment like no other investment.
People understand that they are making a difference because everybody wants to make a difference.
They will be giving even more than they could possibly understand.
This is an investment that no one can take away.
Their dollars are going to making that difference and making dreams come true for these men and women who are wanting to go to college.
You're investing in a person.
That matters.
One investment in a person's education, you know, it's through their lifetime.
And they will carry it on and pass it on to their children.
It just kind of exponentially grows.
Make life better for themselves, better for the don't even think about what my path would have been without the scholarship.
Those that have made it and that are succeeding and that have been given skills and have been given education, we have to give back.